Sooners of Oklahoma at 12-0 and still looking for respect nationwide.
What is going on, Sooner Nation? Thank you all for tuning into another episode of the Barry and Mack Show. As always, myself, Barry, personal trainer, sports performance coach out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And alongside me, former Sooner wide receiver, 2000 national champ, Mr. Damian Mackey. How are we doing today, D-Mac?
Doing well. Appreciate that. I got a 4-mile jog in today. I did my HIIT training. I'm 220. I got about 8 pounds to go. By the way, if I take my shirt off, I'm close to a medium, by the way.
Let's go.
I'm close to rocking a medium. If you remember, we went to dinner.
Yeah.
I was about 245 at that point.
Yeah.
Feeling good. You know, obviously we're getting ready to get into it post game. I just want to say this, just kind of overarching. Sooners put together their best game against their most complete opponent. And so competent quarterback, really good skill guys. I think, guys that we put in a position to underperform versus what they had shown the previous 2 weeks. We got a shit ton of cleanup, especially relative to our schedule. It's going to get real serious starting Saturday. But I just want to make sure I put it out there. And you said this, and I'm probably stealing a little of your thunder, but I was thinking the same thing. So guys, no fire and brimstone here today. We're gonna analyze and critique what we saw on the field. What I see is a third game data point, where if you look at each in a vacuum and you respectively assess the team, that data point says that we're trending the right direction. Right now, you're looking at it from a micro lens. Is that enough? Is the question that we got to wrestle with. But week in, week out, you play the opponent ahead of you. Next week, the guys know who we're playing and they know what they're going to need to bring. So I just feel we're headed in the right direction, cautiously optimistic. I don't pick L's until we lose. But shit, we got to get a ton better if we expect to even be competitive Saturday, because hype is coming to town. Look, I said this, B, and you didn't read my 10 thoughts. By the way, salute for not reading my 10 thoughts, just so you could be very unbiased. When I said this, I'll say this though. I'm gonna tell you what I said, and I know this first freaking hand. Hype's gonna expect a standing ovation, which he deserves.
Yeah, for sure.
Hype is the last guy to win a natty. Rocking that uniform. He's going to expect a standing ovation, and then he's going to try to kick our ass for 4 quarters. And no pun intended, 0 quarter to us, because he's a lump. So don't expect any foot off the gas. Don't expect, if they get up, don't expect him to slow down. And by the way, that's what I would want. There's some bad blood there. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some bad blood there. Like, and I don't have a side. I love hype. I love my school. His resume was what it was at OU. His resume is what it is today. Yeah. Damn it, show up and play football. But I just think on all sides, I get it. Hype's got to do his job, and he's got some championship pedigree, and we've got to do our job and be ready to play Saturday. So be fun game, real fun game.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be exciting. Real quick question. Do you think there's got to be some kind of tribute video or something that goes up for him? What do you think?
I don't know. All I know is he expects a standing ovation. I wouldn't say he didn't tell me he expects it, but I expect us to, like you said, bare minimum, they better do something or I'm going to be upset.
Couple photos, something.
It's been 24 years since we won a natty. It's the longest drought we've ever had in our history of playing football. And he's the guy who was the point guard making that happen. So I would assume we've got something in play for him. And if not, I think our fans are savvy enough to know you clap up your QB who got it done for you. And I think he appreciates that. He's been a guy who has always shown me that he respects what he did with us as a player. But that's compartmentalized into his coaching career. And what happened. And he fell on the sword, and maybe he wasn't good enough at that point. Whatever the talent wasn't good enough at that point. He didn't recruit, whatever was. He took that shit personal, and I respect it as an athlete and as a competitor. If by the way, I would take it personal. Damn it, I was a Sooner and won us a natty and came home, and maybe I didn't do well enough. But if I get the opportunity, I'm coming back and kicking your ass, period. Like, I get it. And as by the way, as an alumni, when I text him this week, I'm gonna be like, damn it, we expect to kick your ass. I'm gonna tell him, and I think he'll respect that. By the way, I'm going to speak to his team in a couple of weeks. I said I wouldn't do it. OU
Yeah, not
Tennessee.
for this guy. Yeah.
He was like,
You
or
know
one
how
of
mad people would be if you spoke to the team and Tennessee
yo,
went out there and kicked ass.
he was like, "You want me to get you a side?" Or what his coach? He didn't say his coach. I've been connecting with his like recruiting coordinator coach, and he was
Yeah,
like, or like his soul mission guy. He has a soul mission guy.
sure.
He was like, "You want a sideline pass? Hell no, I don't want no sideline pass because I'm gonna be on the sideline rooting for the Sooners." I said, "You
Yeah,
don't want me on your sideline." So this week I'm gonna send him my text, show love to him, and then
yeah,
damn it, we better win. Coach
yeah.
V, we gotta go. But I understand the lens in which he's approaching the week as well.
Absolutely, man. And let's hop into the game.
Yep.
Tulane came into this one with that they had played K-State to the wire. They had looked impressive. They had a freshman QB, Mensa, who had been really, really good, played really well against K-State. He can beat you with his feet, beat you with his arm. He showed in the game that he's got the long ball. He's got the intermediate stuff. He's a good quarterback. And we said leaning in, this is a game that OU could lose. This was a game that fans said, man, after Houston and some of what we saw against Temple, not really feeling good about this one. But OU went out there, and yeah, we both said it here on the pod. It was a game where OU does end up getting to 30. It was the 30, it wasn't an easy 30. They earned quite a bit of that, but they get out to a 21-0 lead. They haven't quite learned how to put the foot on the gas and fully separate from a team yet. But I would say, just to kind of do the big, broad 10,000 foot view on this, the defense is legitimate. They have legit players at all three levels of the defense. They have good depth, great depth in spots, good depth all around. The defensive line looked good. It was the defensive end's best game all season, and not just RMT. Caden Woolard played a little bit better. PJ had a couple moments there, nothing flashy, but just some moments in there. Trace Ford looked a lot better this week. So all in all, it showed out in the final score. The offense, on the other hand, they showed some progress. Jackson showed some areas that he's improved in. There were some progression throws where he got to his man. There was also some bad, but how many years in the past has OU basically from game one, the defense is going to be hot garbage and the offense has to save them all year. This is a season where the defense looks to be pretty legit. They look to be a defense that might get into the SEC and actually be formidable. And you've got an offense that improved, but is still missing a lot of the key pieces that's going to make it run. So with that being said, let's hop into a little bit of the stats. I just want to go through this real fast just to give us some context. OU out first down Tulane 23-16. On third down conversions, Oklahoma looked a lot better. 8 of 16, and most of those misses were in the second half where OU stalls out on 4 drives. OU didn't go for a fourth down. Tulane was 1 for 2. I think the big one with Tulane's offense coming into this one and with the talent they had a receiver, a running back, they hold them under 300 yards, D-Mac. That's big time. That's big time against any opponent in 2024, but against Tulane, that's nothing to sneeze at. OU ends up with 167 yards through the air. It felt like more than that. I think when OU's other receivers get back, guys who can shake and bake a little more in the open field, I think that'll make a difference. A guy like Farouk does a lot for your passing yards because he's able to take a pass and shake someone and go get 10, 15 every time. Interceptions 1-1. OU does turn them over twice overall. Penalties, OU has been decent with the penalties. Not great. Some of them have been untimely, but for the most part, not bad. And then where we'll talk about when we go offense, OU finishes with 183 yards on the ground. Again, good run defense. OU's run defense has been solid all year. They hold Tulane to 106. Going to get it started defensively, though, D-Mac. And the tale of the game, really, for me, was R. Mason Thomas. He has the 3 sacks to close out. He's OU's best pass rusher. I think that showed in this game, and we've been talking about it. It feels like for a half a decade now, but guy's only been here for a little bit. Good to see him get going. Stutzman once again had a solid game. The linebackers are still there's still some misses there. That they're still struggling in coverage time to time. McKenzie had his struggles. Kip, even Stutzman on a couple plays. And at corner and safety, we'll talk about those positions a little more in depth. But Kanai and Dez continue to look the part on those cornerback spots. That I think those are going to be your lockdown guys when you get into SEC play, who are going to get a majority of the snaps. But I won't steal any of the individual accolade thunder as I throw it your way. Give me your thoughts first, starting along the defensive line, and then let's work back.
Yeah, number one, our D line is the best position. Our D tackles are the best position group on the team. Remember when we were doing fall camp and we were discussing, and we were like, yo, there's a lot of potential. We just got to wait and see. We talked about secondary. We talked about receivers. Obviously, this is prior to Gibson getting hurt and the other guy's injury as well. Through 3 games, our D line, especially our tackles, they dominate. By the way, they dominated Tulane guard, center guard.
Yeah.
Dominated them. 65s in the backfield every 2 plays.
Every
Dominic
play.
Williams is a yard in their backfield every play. Terry is, when it's a defined rundown and he's in and they try to run something inside the tackles, he's kicking ass. I didn't see Halton as much. I don't know if he's injured or what. I saw him on the sideline.
He played a little less. He was in there. He started the game actually.
Okay, I didn't see him as much. So whatever the fact is, he didn't stick out so much to me, or maybe I missed him. I only watched the game 1.5 times. I kind of I worked all day yesterday, so I kind of watched it as much as I could, and then I did a rewatch. D tackles, I think they're championship good. By the way, we've got 4 plus 2 pups who could be just as good potentially. We don't know, but they could. I mean, Strong and Sanders, like. And I'm not even speaking to Stone, who I saw Stone playing some in the third quarter. Like D tackles, Coach Bates, salute. Like he is taking care of business and much respect. D ends, it's RMT and then it's everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with your assessment. I watch Willard, he gets blocked. And he gets blocked. He's slow dancing. I didn't watch him every time because we rotate a ton. We're gonna see cleaner rotations now that we're in conference. They're giving a bunch of guys a chance to get film. So we won't see 6 guys just rotating. We'll probably see 3 or 4, right? And we'll get a cleaner picture. But Willard did not impress me. Ford is a little better than Downs in passing scenarios. He creates some pressure. He still isn't getting there. Downs is a little better than Ford in run scenarios, but Downs got his ass kicked in passing downs, ass kicked. And I'm not hating, I'm just telling you, like, he's getting stoned.
He just has no moves. He has no inside move, and it kills him.
That the punch of the O lineman, go watch the punch of Tulane versus our punch. And I know I'm not talking O line yet, but I'm going to speak to this. Our O line have a solid first punch, but they don't extend, they don't sink, and they don't close out. They just that's something we got to address. Go watch our D ends. It reminded me of K-State last year, or 2 years ago. The K-State game I go to 2 years ago. Like bro, they're latching on and they're stoned. And then of course you speak about RMT. RMT was getting home first quarter. He just didn't have any help and was barely missing. So in the third quarter, to see him start to get home, and in the fourth quarter, he won us the game. RMT won. Yeah. And this is what I love, Barry. Football is a game about team, all that good stuff. But football is also a game of, I'm a man and I'm gonna whoop your ass. RMT you could see that juice. He kind of got like, remember old school NBA jams where you caught on fire and the guy on fire.
He's on fire.
Bro, you could just see RMT's confidence was so high. He won us the game in the fourth quarter. He really did. Yeah. His play, we don't know what they had set up. Who knows if receivers are open, because the quarterback was going to chuck that thing. RMT was kicking that left tackle, and he was playing on the other side. Right tackle was passed so fast that he just took over whatever they're trying to do. And so salute. Our D tackles are as good as our D tackles are synonymous with some of the very best D tackles in America. I believe that. RMT, if he can be a guy, and again, you said it. I always remember when you said it 2 years ago. And as a pup, you could see like he's just a little light in the ass, but he's got something. Last year, he's injured. Halton, high ankle sprains him early in the season. He comes back bigger this season. Even game 1 and game 2, you see the explosion is still there. I hope, and this is maybe crimson colored glasses. I think he turns the corner and starts to believe in himself. That identity says, "Hey, I'm a dude," because we need him to be a dude. And I've always said, if Downs is your best, right? He's not a Sunday guy. This is his last season. He's not a
Interesting.
Sunday guy. He's
Yeah.
not a Sunday guy. He's a great team guy. He's a starter type guy. But like, if RMT sets up as the dude, here's the kicker: defenses have to scheme. If a running back has to stay in, it can't leak. If they have to get out of stuff that they want to run to his side, if they have to park a tight end over there who now it can't get into a route combo, and we've got an extra guy
Yeah.
in our zones, that's the part of the game that players, it's not scheme, it's not coach, players make that happen, and then coaches have to adjust. That's a big deal. And so I scored the D line a 90. I scored them a 90. Or D tackles. I scored the D ends an 84. Without RMT, they're a 68. Like, someone else has to, God forbid RMT gets nicked up or, fingers
Yeah.
crossed, injured. Now we're back to square one.
Sure.
But man, what he did was great. Backers, I'm gonna be quick. Danny's really good. I
Really
hate
good.
that. I hate that we don't spend a ton of time fawning over him. But with all due respect, when you're AA, right? When you're AA, damn it, do what you're supposed to do. He's doing what he's supposed to do, and I
Yeah.
like it. I do want to speak to one tweak that I noticed. It was very clear. Snap one or snap first possession. He's playing Will 70% of the time,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
was
and,
going to
and
ask you about that.
oh, he's playing
Yeah.
Will, and you see McKenzie over the center guard gap. You see Stutz playing over the weak side tackle or in the uncovered tackle guard gap, right? He's covered three technique. He's with the three tech. Um, him at will is a mother. I don't want to say that. MFer.
Yeah.
Him at will is an MFer. He's our best backer at Mike, but he's not a great Mike. I want to speak to very first possession. I don't know what play it is. I got to go back and watch it, but they run an inside, some type of inside scheme. McKenzie sees it as a Mike and immediately cancels the A gap. Stunts is in the B gap, and as a will, he's uncovered. He can run to the football. I mean, we kill it, and that is textbook, right? And so when you look at backer, I am excited about some of the tweaks they made. I said this in my 10 thoughts. I'm a big Kip Lewis guy, and I was a big Lewis Carter is going to be a guy who's going to be a stud. Sign me up for McKenzie at Mike, Stutz at Will, and Sammy O as Cheetah.
Hmm.
When Dolby comes back, hey, bro, you're now a nickel and you're the number two Cheetah. We cannot take Sammy O off the field.
You can't.
He's an MFer in the run game, and he is deadly up to the second level. By the way, he only did it one game, 1.5 games. He did it in both games. He might be the best backer at the second level in pass coverage.
100%.
I
100%.
have
I completely agree with you.
I would have to go back with just the single eye to watch action against our defense and how our
Mhm.
guys look up people. I in the two games, and I'm just saying this. I got to go back and look. I've only watched the game 1.5 times. I think he's better than Stutz. And Stutz is going to play on Sundays because of what he does coming forward, and also because his versatility at the second level. Samuel might be better than him, just in natural instincts. Samuel has a nose for the ball.
He
You know,
feels it. He feels it. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you know who Samuel looks like to me,
Who?
and this is not a crazy cop.
Who?
Who's my best friend? He,
Superman.
he looks like
Roy
him. He looks like him
Lee.
on the field. Now, I don't know if he can carry like Roy could. Roy could carry to the third level,
Yeah.
which is why he's a
That's the
draft
elite
pick.
part. Yeah.
Yeah, but listen, go watch. He's opposite the tight end, or no, he's not. He's on the side of the tight end as our
Mhm.
third backer. He's replacing the Sam. Go watch how he handles run game, action, turn and run. I I know Dobie's a dude,
Yeah.
and Dobie's physical for Cheetah, but we're gonna be in the SEC where we need thicker, stronger, more aggressive. Dobie is a tell that if I'm a coordinator, offensive coordinator, and we get in 11 personnel, one back, one tight end, I'm gonna figure out ways to scheme running at him. All right,
Yeah.
you just can't do it to Samio, and or at least that's what he's shown for two games, two data points. He's got to get an opportunity to continue to do that. He's got to. I was very impressed. Um, Kip looks whatever. I just haven't seen him make any impactful plays yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Lewis Carter, I think, is a distant second right now. He's probably still not ready mentally.
Yeah.
McKenzie, you're right. Run game 21 for Tulane is the best back we played against by far, and he had the worst game as a running back in the 3 games. That tells you what the defense is doing, and that's an attribute to our D tackles killing their guards in the guard gaps, and then our backers filling and running to the football. It's also the coach scheming our players to be in really good positions. I'm just telling you that the tweak of putting McKenzie at the mic and Stutz at the wheel, that's a big deal. Run and pass, and that helps us. Corners, Dez and 26 got to play a ton. 4 and 26. I think going into conference, it'll be 75-25. Corners run a ton, and you want to have 4 ready to go. So I expect to see 19-5. Listen, if 5 is your third or fourth corner, you're in good shape. He
Mm-hmm.
does not suck, but he gets picked on, and he's a guy who I don't know, you know I liken him to Billy. We'll talk about Billy here in a second. The difference is no one expects excuse me 5 to be an AA. He's not an AA. He's not a preseason All-American.
Yeah.
Billy is. And we see some of the same things where he's caught eyes in the backfield. He's caught letting people cross him. He's caught letting people get behind him. He's not cleaning his tackles. Again, I'm not saying Billy's not a good player on a good defense, but damn it, if you're an All-American, bro, you got to be a difference maker. Stunts is showing us how an All-American plays like an All-American. Billy's showing us how an All-American does not play like an All-American. And by the way, I hope he hears this. He needs to hear this because you got to play better, bro. We expect you act like a team leader. Coach believes in you as a team leader. I think you have the character and all that stuff. All that stuff I think is good. You just got to play better on Saturday. That's in all aspects of the game. That's C gap. That's running the alley. That is second level when you're robbing. You got to catch crossers and really get in there. He has a beautiful play. They run an out. It's an out. It's not even a speed out. It's a progression out. Slot receiver. He picks him up. It's a big play in the second quarter. They are trying to get some momentum. I think they got like 1 or 2 firsts, and he's there. He swipe and he just misses it. He misses the ball. By the way, it's not a bad play. It's just an All-American's got to make that play. The guy catches the ball. I think that's when they kick their first field goal, or maybe the second field goal. But it's like they squarely have confidence now. Like, okay, we can make some stuff cook, and that's on Billy. And I think he knows, like, damn it, I wish I could have got it. And I'm sure it's not um, a big minus, but it's a big play opportunity that he needs to take advantage of. 3 is great on the second level. 3 is great. By the way, somebody said our best 2 safeties are Billy and Peyton. No, our best 2 safeties are Peyton and 3.
RSJ. Yeah.
However, RSJ's weakness is the third level. When he's the high safety and he's got to go cover deep routes, he's always a step, or he has shown to be a step behind. And so when he has the opportunity to rob, when he has this opportunity to spy, he's, by the way, his instincts are better than Peyton. I haven't seen enough, definitely better than Billy. But when he's the high safety, he's been beat or a half yard behind a couple times, and obviously he's a safety who busts on the touchdown against Houston, and so that's just an area for him. But listen, when the bullets is flying and you got crossers or you got screen routes or you got boot action and everybody's getting fooled, 3 generally is a guy who you can depend on to stay home, see it, diagnose it, make the tackle, be physical. He's doing a lot of good things. We need Billy to improve. Defensively overall, that's a game. If our defense plays like that against, I'd say 80% of the SEC, that's a good enough game for them to win a game. If our offense complements them, just looking at that game and what we did, I'd say 80% of the SEC, right? That defensive performance is a defensive performance where you can say at the end of that game, those guys did what they had to do. And so exciting. And let me say one more thing, Barry, I'm sorry. As OU fans, this is just me speaking for the fans. Everybody may not agree with me. We've had so long where our defense was a sieve. I don't know how to say it correctly. Sieve, whatever. Our defense sucked. Our defense sucked. Yeah. I don't think our fans remember what it feels like to just play a typical football game. We've had such a dynamo offensive game plan, players, schemes, OCs, head coaches, whatever, and such bad defensive everything on the other side of the ball. We had to be very multiple, very assertive, if not aggressive, right? Like we had to do some of the things that would keep us in a game if our defense couldn't hold up. Some of us as fans, we need to calm down and recognize that because we do have a defense that can play winning football, sometimes we're going to have conservative possessions. Sometimes the offense is going to be in a position where they tell the Q to eat it. We're going to run the ball on third down. One drop, right, isn't the end of the world. And I'm not saying that with rose-colored glasses, but I watch a ton of football on Saturdays, and I'm just telling you, there's a lot of Penn States, Iowas, Georgias. Those guys say, let's live to fight another day sometimes. And it's okay for us to do that because we do have a defense that's opportunistic, that's talented, all right, and is pretty scheme sound. They've been in the scheme 3 years. You can see guys like Stutz, who was thinking 2 years ago, not having to think so much and just react. You see RSJ. You see, right? I can go down and name, right? Downs. Terry's been in the system 2 years, right? Kip's been in the system 3 years. Like you can go down the list. These guys have been in the system. Bowen's been in the system, right? These guys have been in the system. They can play ball. Let's not feel like because for the last 15 years, if the offense didn't perform perfectly, oh shit, we're going to lose by 17. No, not so much the case, right? We've got pretty good special teams. Peyton Bowen has a nice return down the north sideline.
He's going to bust a few, man.
I'm going to give you kudos when he does, but if he does, I want my steak. Kicker's kicking that thing in the end zone. I think that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal. I forgot. I think it's Kansas. I think it is Kansas last year. We get momentum. We kick it back, or maybe it's K-State a year or two ago. We kick it to them, and then because we don't kick it in the end zone, they get a big return and they steal the momentum. Our kicker can get it through the end zone. Our punter, again, has some of those coffin corner situations. He does a great job down in the ball, and then
he is pretty solid, man. He's a little even better than I thought he would be.
Oh man, he had another one. He had a big time. We get the ball on the 3-yard line Saturday, and then of course our field goal kicker. He scared us against Houston when it was pressure. But then again, Saturday, he's true. Those kicks look really good going through the uprights this week again. So just as it respects to the defense, just remember defense travels. And you said it. Not a ton. We've got quality depth at a lot of positions where we're not just one man away from, oh shit, we're in trouble. Offense, we got to be on red alert or we're going to lose by 30.
Which is big time. I mean, I'll touch on RMT just real quick. I mean, his explosiveness now is where we thought it could be. There's some few plays where he's completely unblocked, and that tells you, by the way, when you are not even schemed up to be blocked and you still have the explosiveness to damn near make the play, you're an explosive athlete because you're covering 7-8 yards at a given clip. And that quarterback's usually rolling opposite you. The play's going opposite. And the fact that he had multiple plays where he almost got home on those is big time. I agree with you about Sammy. I think there's a play where we talked a pre-show a little bit about Kanai when they were doing the match zone and he almost picks off the ball where he does a switch or they switch it at the snap. Sammy on one play, it is somewhere in the first quarter, and I may have posted this on X. He carries the crosser, and then as soon as that crosser gets across his face, the tight end had delayed and then is coming up, and then he switches out onto the tight end completely deletes it. There's no chance. The receiver is getting carried over to the safety has picked up the receiver. I think it was RSJ on this play. And that is big time. That's stuff that Dolby does also really well. But the difference with Sammy is they had plays where they put him on the line of scrimmage, man. They had plays where he was hand in the dirt on a couple of these are some of the inventive things that we knew Venables was going to be able to bring to Oklahoma. That is very outside the box. I don't think anybody had that on the bingo card for Sammy Omasigo when he got to Oklahoma. Right? He's going to be playing an edge. I mean, that is what we think of as Cheetah. OU just did not have a guy who could do that. And he's more explosive than Dason going lateral. I think going forward, I think they're both pretty equivalent. But when it comes to lateral quickness and being able to flip hips, Dason's not even in Sam's ballpark. It's not even close. We touched on Woody a little bit. I think Woody is going to continue, especially going into SEC play. Maybe you start him, and I want to ask you about this before we move over to offense, but I'll unpack it a little bit. Maybe you start him out of the seniority piece, the leadership or whatnot. But in this game, they quickly went to Dez and Kanai without a lot of hesitation. And Dez is right. I said it first game. There were a couple plays, and you're right. You pointed this out in game one. He still gets blocked up a little bit in run game from time to time, but
he got housed game one.
yeah, if the D line is doing what they're supposed to do, it's obviously an issue, right? You want a guy like Gentry out there who can do both things, right? Play tough against the run and cover. But Dez against teams like Ole Miss, against teams like Tennessee, against teams like Alabama, you're not going to have the luxury of giving Woody 20, 25 snaps and hoping he holds up, because the 3 or 4 of those go 30, 40 yards. I mean, real quick, against a team like Ole Miss, I don't know if a player like Gentry, Dez, Kanai are going to be able to leave the field against the receiving core that they're going to roll out there. And that's also a game, because of the size that they're putting up, that I think eliminates some of Dolby's ability, where you have to have a guy like Sammy, because Ole Miss is not just, and probably Missouri too. I think Missouri is also a game where it's not just, you're not playing against a bunch of slot guys, right? You're playing against big, athletic, strong receivers who some of them are going to be in the NFL here in a couple years or this year. You got to have guys who can match up size-wise and match up speed-wise. McKenzie, really well. Only issues I thought were in pass coverage, right? And there were plays where if he is able to instinctually have that clock tick just a second earlier, he's in the play. And then to touch on the specifics of RSJ and Billy, Billy's issue is almost opposite RSJ. RSJ to me plays a little more cerebral. He is a little more kind of pointed with his decision making, which is why he's so good in the run. He has quiet feet until his feet don't need to be quiet. We talked pre-show, when you watched Roy play in the secondary, he didn't look like he was playing with his hair on fire back there. It was calm, cool, and collected until he had to hit the gas, right? He's reading, and then going. When you watch Billy play, it's almost like his feet are too live, and because of that, he ends up overcommitting a lot, and then you can't get back across the field because he's just not long enough to be able to overcommit and then cover space like that. Now, if you're Sammy O, you got a little bit more room to, if you're playing on the boundary or what, you can get cross, have somebody pull you that way and then come back. But a little different with Billy. RSJ.
Can I speak to that?
Go for it.
Can I speak to that? Billy's role is as the high safety. Like, to me, he's the proverbial high safety. Like, if you're talking about an All-American class, right, they don't have Billy as an All-American because he's a whole safety. And so it looks to me like they got Payton and RSJ playing more of the whole safety, which was Roy's position. And of course, the Cheetah does as well, right? I was an all-state safety, and I know I'm old as dirt, whatever. But I know that position's all angles. And generally, if you're the first thing a deep safety does, if you're not robbing, right, at the snap of the ball, if you're robbing, you take a step forward and you go outside in looking for crossers. You don't have the deep responsibility. Either a corner's carrying because you're in quarters, or there's another safety and you go from 2 to 3 or 2 to 1, and there's a deep safety behind you, but you're robbing and you rob to try to get an interception, right, to create confusion.
Yeah.
Billy much too often is in a position where you're like, the safety is the quarterback of the defense. His angle should always put him in position to get to the play without it being a huge play. If he's the high safety and they run some cross, he can see all the action in the backfield. He can see where the crossers are coming. His angle should bring him to the play, whether it's a fade, a post, a dig, right? So I feel like the biggest issue I have with him, as again, I want to make sure I can consistently say AA because he's preseason All-American and I think he was third team or whatever he was. That position, there shouldn't be 4, 5, 6 plays a game when you're like, what the hell is he doing? Right. And if it's because they have him robbing a ton at the second level, then they should probably stop robbing him and put another person who's better at it because he's just it's just not clean. And you're right. You watch Roy, you watch some of those other guys. Roy's old as dirt too, but you watch some of those other guys. First of all, they never put Roy on the third level. That's why Roy was All-American.
Mm-hmm.
Roy knew how to do his job. By the way, Roy's first 6 years in the NFL. They didn't put Roy at the third level. Roy played Willie. Roy never realized he was a Willie backer his entire career until Parcells came and put him at a true safety, and he's like, "Oh shit." Roy was a Willie backer his entire career. But anyway, the point is, Billy's not. Mm-hmm. Billy's a high safety. And if he plays in the NFL, which we all think he will, he's going to have to play high safety. And at that position, he's losing money because they don't, if the high safety has to make tackle 17 yards down the field, they just want to see it be clean. Damn, we got beat on a crossing route, but the high safety pushed him out of bounds. Damn, we got beat on boot, but the high safety was in position because the high safety sees all the angles. And I know this because it's a position I played since Pee Wee through high school. And that's your job. You're the deepest guy on the field. Your eyes are on everything. You have a purview to see everything. You've got to read. And when the quarterback shows where the ball is going, you've got to have an angle to make sure the play doesn't turn into some big time gain. And so I think that's the biggest issue. I also want to speak to one other thing because you brought up Samuel. Samuel, Pat, essentially, he does. Unfortunately, the game is so hard now. What you spoke to is when he has the in cut and the tight end delays and he passes it and he takes the out cut because we play a ton of matchup. We play zone, but it's essentially matchup man. Mm-hmm. Go watch, and we talked about this pregame or pre-show. Go watch the exact same scenario on the goal line on 4th and goal. Tulane is in the same position, and watch how Kanai on the boundary side handles the same scenario, and Kanai treats the play like it's true man, but we know it's not, and it may be Kanai's a DB, so the backers may have been in true man, but the DBs are passing, and you can see whoever's over there with him. I don't remember who it is. They pass on the play, but Kanai, he should have just sunk and had eyes looking in to carry the person so that he could see that running back slip out. If you go back and watch it, by the way, there's a perfect angle on the TV version of the game. If Kanai doesn't turn his back and run like it's man principles, and he just opens up so that he sees the end cut, but then can see the running back, we cancel it on the 5-yard line and they don't score. Mm-hmm. That's totally, and again, I watched it twice. It's zone principles. It's matchup zone principles. I feel like Kanai should not have turned around with it. He probably felt like he needed to get under it, which I get because he wanted to make sure the guy couldn't get there. But literally, if he's in there, the guy comes, he speed turns like it's a man principle. If he just sees it, opens up, his eyes are able to see what's coming out, he'd see the running back. And if you go back and watch the film, it's the exact scenario where Samuel handles it perfectly, and then Kanai turns the wrong way, and because he turns his back to the play, he doesn't see the running back leak out. The corner gets off. The corner's in a matchup zone because he's not turning around. He sees it. He just doesn't have the angle. It's a collision on like the half-yard line, and the guy gets right there to score the TD. So just kind of some X's and O's, and showing a scenario you spoke to on how Samuel addressed a route combo with the delay leak, and then seeing Kanai do the same. And unfortunately, he treated it like man versus treating it like zone, and because he turned his back, they score.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, right, we'll move on to offense, but you hold Tulane to 19 points. It was a game where
13.
The 13. Hey, that's right, because of the pick, and we'll get to that. Yeah, so only 13 offensive points for Tulane, and that's big time football against a team where you expected, what did I say, 20, 24, I think. OU getting to 30 again, big time. Let's talk about offense. And let's go offensive line first. We'll kind of start with the big uglies up front, similar to how we did on defense. A few things that I noticed right off the bat is They still struggled, especially pass blocking. I thought the run blocking for some players was much better. There, and obviously it showed in the yards. It showed in some of the big chunk plays where OU was really solid in getting the 5 to 10. Right, there were a few that they probably should have broke open and scored, or at least put that thing on the goal line. But the run game was much better. Center 64 continues to get whooped just time and time again. Run plays and pass plays, and it's exactly what I said. His feet just aren't quick enough. He's not quick enough to slide, and he actually has a pretty decent punch. It's not big, like he's a pretty strong athlete, but Tulane has some athletic players playing up front who just gave him a little right to left, did a little swim, just very, very, I won't call it basic because it's high level college football, but it's stuff that a lot of players know. You play against, you drill all the time. And he's obviously playing against really good defensive linemen at Oklahoma, who, best position group, as you said, on the team, arguably. Got to be better. But like what I saw out of Ozeta, there were some pass blocking scenarios where he's got to be better, be able to move his feet. 54 to me continues to be one of, if not the best lineman.
He's the best.
On the
in
team.
my opinion, our right guard's our best player right now on the offensive line.
Yeah, he's good in run game. He's good in pass game. And if you watch him, and you'd love to see this happen with the younger players, he kind of just does what he needs to, right? He's not, I wouldn't say he's like Drew Samia out there just blasting guys, and that there's a few, but he's just consistent. He gets in front of guys. He's where he needs to be. Rarely is the play a loss because of him. There was a play where OU, I can't remember, it might have been outside zone, but the tackle just whiffs and the backside in makes the play. I think I sent that to you. 70. And you can't have that happen, right? You can't have the backside edge make the tackle on your running back when things weren't crystal clear, but he probably picks up 4, 5, right? So you can't have that happen. I think Howland is a solid piece. I really like what he's going to look like long term. He's just got to get stronger, bigger, more experience, but the length is there. I think he moves his feet really well. He's got to get where he can play lower. Just some of the things that you see with offensive linemen that have to develop. But give us your take, D-Mac. What'd you think of the O-line?
So first thing is least talented group for now. Sexton is not an all conference type dude. Taylor, I mean, like these guys, they are all a work in progress. All of them. 54 is our best. In my opinion, he's the best offensive line player. So there's a couple things I want to address. Week 1, we had a huge issue with just letting guys go free or just letting guys cross our face. And week 2, we cleaned it up, which is why I gave them the highest score, because there was just so much chaos and misassignments across the board. The offensive line to me was the least of the issues, speaking to relative to how much they improved versus Temple and Houston. This game, because other position groups played much better, we were then reminded how lacking our offensive line is. Let me tell you the big difference I see between 54 and pretty much all of his counterparts most of the game. He and you spoke to it sort of, but he finishes blocks. The reason we have issues with our second level offense, some of the action stuff where we stay in the pocket, right? We show the ball and it gives our receivers enough time to do crosses and whatever the case is, because I don't know that I saw a tackle consistently, any tackle, take on an end, give them their punch, and then go tell them where they're going to go, right? As a receiver, we call it stalk blocking, and we know how to keep our hands, extend, and because I extend and I sit my ass down, now I have leverage and I can move them. That's an offensive line principle, right? That's what offensive line do. You literally take away their angle because you're extended on them. They don't have leverage. You have the leverage. You're sitting down. It's like you sit in a chair. Coach Burr talk about extend and sit in a chair. They could be 40 pounds heavier than you. I got your ass. And I watch our tackles, and their initial punch is solid. We got a hat on a hat a lot of times. Now they kicked our ass in a gap a bunch, and sometimes we had a guard helping when there was no help needed, and then he should have stayed home. And they're coming up the A gap, separate issue. But even when we have a hat on the hats, like damn, right? One alligator, two, boom, ball's got to be out. You don't even get two
Yeah.
and a half alligators, or you feel the pressure, and now you can feel um, JFA, feeling it, and because of that, he gets antsy. I feel like that's a correctable problem. I said this where I said my biggest takeaway is we need to be more physical. You're right. I don't think it's like, oh, our guys are weak. That's not what my eyeballs see. Oh, our guys are too small. We got a couple of guys that are too small. More
Yeah.
so, what it is they're kind of soft. Like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Don't just be like. It feels to me like they're like, oh, I did my job. Look, coach,
Interesting.
this is supposed to be quick game or quick action, and coach said it's a 1.5 second play, and so in their head, like all I gotta do is one, like, nah, bro, we playing football, dog. This play might go 4 seconds.
There's
You
no
need to
nasty.
extend and try to punk him.
Yeah.
That to me is the biggest issue I saw because I was looking at the game and I'm like, there's hats
Mm,
on hats. Again, our biggest issue is the A gap. We
yeah.
had, I think it's our left guard. He's kind of like, oh, I don't see anything up front, so he's helping on the tackle, and then here comes a backer looping through, and he misses it 2 or 3 times. But I just want to say this because we got to talk about O-line. How about listen, A stuck his nose in there. Last week 8 bust, not this week.
Nah.
8 stuck his nose in there a few times
And
and
we'll
and
get there.
and canceled a
Yeah.
backer. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
just in terms of blocking scheme.
Sure.
I like to see
Is
that.
better. Yeah.
But as an offensive line, I believe it's correctable because it's
Hmm.
literally just a physical, it's literally just beat and beast. I shouldn't say it like that. It's not that easy, but beat and bow says, hey guys, listen, we're just gonna do, finish through the whistle plus 2 seconds for 3 days. And if I don't see it, you run after practice, right? There's some type of consequence
Yeah.
if you don't, because we're getting a hat on a hat most often than not. We just don't have a ton of guys who want to finish 70. Then I said, let me watch the transfer. Man, he got cross faced the most. He by run game too. Run game, pass game, he
Yeah.
got like beat. Sexton just looks lazy. I'm like, man, don't like go be great. It just pisses me off a little bit. Like I just feel like I've played on teams, high school and college, and I know the guys. We had a guy named Al Basinger, and Al
Hmm.
Basinger was a guy who would basically do just what coach said do. And then he did it, and because the play wasn't perfect, we needed a little extra sauce. He'd be like, "Coach, I did what you told." Oh, we would be
Mm,
so mad, like, "Bro, come on, man!" It would be like us against the defense,
yeah.
and they be talking shit, and we be talking shit, and you got Roy Lee and D Straight and booking them boys, and me Savage and Trent Smith, like, nah, like that's how worked up we got in Wednesday practice when we do blitz drill. And I would literally be the he played our right tackle. I would literally be the guy who'd be like, it's quick game. We're supposed to get the ball out in the second and a half. Like, man, hell nah. Like, bro, are you kidding me? Like
Yeah.
that part, it feels to me like there are guys who are saying coach
Mm,
said, and they're not wanting to be a football dog. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to see that improve in the past. And by the way, it haunts us in the run game. I didn't speak to this, but this is important. Seth schemed up better plays. And I'm not a Seth apologist. I will speak the truth. Seth's my fullback. Everyone knows it. And it is what it is. Damn it, Seth called a better game. And
yeah.
and we put our running backs in position to go get some juice. And we'll talk about running backs when we do. Um, but we ran so we ran some midline veer and shoot stuff. We ran some two back, right? But
Yeah. A
I
lot more two
appreciate
back. Was it a
I
true 22? I don't
yeah,
remember if that was
it was two tailbacks. It
yeah.
was two
Okay.
tailbacks. We didn't have an F. I mean, we didn't have an H in. We didn't have a big
Okay.
H. Um, I appreciated seeing guys. There was some of the Fedora Wilson stuff in there, man. We ran
Mm,
some of the gap assignments, get wide, find the. Oh, I'll speak to this because we're talking to O line. I spoke about this pre-show, but Barnes is the back. We show outside zone, stretch zone. I like to call it stretch zone. We show stretch zone, and you can see pre-snap there's some read for bin back. And essentially,
hmm.
because the way they're lined up, they're lined over, so they're cheating to the strong. Oh, I don't know who it might be. Tarkin, it might be Ozita and Tarkin. I don't know who it is, but the left tackle, left guard, literally crush the backside of the defense. Thank you, Jesus. Barnes looks like he wants to run the stretch. He feels it. He sticks his foot in the ground and he gets up the field. And I think he gets like 12, 14 yards. Again, not to hit on the kid, but the first guy who can tackle him tackles him, but that scheme, those are things we did not show or we did not take advantage of, I'd say, the first 2 weeks. That's scheme stuff. We run some off tackle stuff. Uh-oh. Okay. We
Let's see
run
if we
some
can
off.
get it, man.
You
Can
got it?
you see the play?
Oh, I see the play. Can you run
Okay.
it?
I can run it. Here, let
Okay,
me go
so
back.
go all the way got to pre-snap.
Here, let's go here. So here's pre-snap.
So pause. So can you pause it right there?
Yep.
So listen, the guy on the end of the line of scrimmage, the guy in the 2 point, we don't block him because the play we're showing is that we're running stretch the opposite way. Guard tackle have 2-on-2. The guy in the 5 who's outside the tackle, and then that backside backer, right? The backers are cheated strong because tight end is up top, right? So you can see again, an offense, a good OC says, hey, let's scheme, stretch zone, and then bend back. And all the bend back means is if it's there running back, bend back, because you can see if you split the line down the middle, there's really 5 guys in the box. If you count backside backer, he's basically on the shade of the center. There's 5 guys to that side if you got the overhang, right? You see the overhang outside the tight end?
Yeah.
How many guys are in the box on the weak side? 2.
Yeah.
Right? There's a 2-point and the 3-point. So as a running back, if coach says, hey, we're going to run stretch, but we're going to bend back, running back pre-snap, Barnes should already be knowing, oh, I got to press it and it's going to be there. Watch what the guard and the tackle do. Go ahead and run it. You see that? So he presses play side. Now, boom, look at that gaping hole. Go for 1 second and then stop it. Stop. Say stop. He's cleared the backer. He's cleared the 2-point stance. It's him in space. All he has is a safety. So by the way, so when you're talking about scheme, offensive coordinator puts us in a great play. Offensive linemen do what they're supposed to do. We're 10 yards down the field before we're touched and we're tackled. That's a play. As a running back, this is all you can ask for. The only guy in the play is the safety. Now, granted, you can't run back to our sideline because there's a corner who's over there. But if you can beat that safety, that's a 60. I mean, we're running down the field. Obviously, something happens thereafter, but that scheme is great. Execution is great. By the way, the running back runs it correctly. There's only 2 on that backside right there. Pause it. It's him and the safety. And that's the stuff that I talk about. What if that's Tatum? That's the play where it's like, if Tatum gets that ball, Barnes does what he's supposed to do. That's a plus on the play, but that's like a team plus, right? Everybody there, they're supposed to do. You're running the ball. You didn't have to do much. The game-changing running back does something about that guy.
So here's what the difference between Tatum and Tawi, and this is when you get things down individually, and I'll posit. He does what he's supposed to do with his eyes, and the eyes are really what is trying to sell this defender, this DB, in order for Barnes to be able to make the man miss. He doesn't commit enough. It's almost like doing a crossover in basketball where you're not selling it enough with your shoulders and with your hips in order to be able to get back inside or outside. He does it way too fast. I'll let it run. It's too quick. And because of that, he's not selling the outside move well enough to be able to get back inside, and then his angle is off. He just does not approach this with a good angle. He's way too, at this point, he's hugging the guy way too tight. There's no reason to make it that sharp, right? He needs to be able to put that foot in the ground. I still think he takes too many steps, like even back here on this is just too many steps to get north and south. Kennedy Brooks, that's 2 less steps. But still a great play, I think, as he develops as a back and gets better because you can see his eyes where he's looking right now. He's almost splitting the defender, right? But then when he drops here, he probably could have dropped a little bit later. And because he's given this defender way too much space, he's got 5 yards to try and break down and close the distance, and then he just doesn't get it tight enough. And to me, that's the difference. Yeah, let's go.
Back up. Let me show you why it's a 12-yard play versus. No. Go back to that play. Go back to that play. Okay, pause right there. Stop. Nah, go back. Go back.
Let's go.
I want to go back to when he clears the 2-point stance, guys. So stop. Right. No, not yet. Stop. Go 1 more second. Stop right there. at that point, it's just like receivers and DBs. It's just like D lineman versus O lineman. He's got to square up the free safety. The free safety's job is inside out. That's why we call it a banana. The free safety. So if you look where Barnes is and you look where the free safety is, he's a yard inside Barnes. He's doing, by the way, that's a good job by the free safety. Barnes needs to square him up, because if Barnes squares him up, Barnes can beat him to the left or Barnes can beat him to the right. Barnes can't beat him to the right because the safety is a yard inside out of him. It's like scraping in space. You see that? So stop right there. Look,
he's
the
squared
safety
up. Yeah.
The safety's still a yard inside of him. So Barnes can't beat him inside, right? I mean, he's going to try to, and you can see the safety can take it away because he still hasn't squared him up. Stop. Now he tries to square him up, but where's the safety? He's still a half yard inside of him. So if Barnes, and then guys, I'm nitpicking, right? But a natural running back gets to that level and puts himself in a position to be square with the safety. Now I can juke you either way and actually beat you. That's a great job by the safety. The safety's job is not to over pursue. Had he over pursued, Barnes could have stuck his foot in the ground and got inside of him. He stayed inside out the entire time. That's textbook. By the way, that's a plus by the safety. The defense got in trouble, but the safety got a plus on that play because he's one-on-one in space. And as a running back coach, DeMarco Murray eats his lunch. If DeMarco Murray gets that, he eats his lunch. I believe if Tatum gets that play, Tatum does more with that play than Barnes does, because Barnes has consistently shown us that Barnes won't make people miss. And again, not to belabor, I don't want to kick his tail. I don't think he sucks. He is a guy that I think he's earned the right. Someone said it. Barnes is a guy who should get some inside touches and be able to hammer on folks. Like, dang, you get him on the edge. I'd love Tatum to be a guy who's on the edge.
All right, D-Mac, since we were talking about O-line, and this will be a good transition to Jackson, we'll run through a little bit of this film, kind of a surprise for the folks today. What happens here on this pick? Give us the rundown. What's the problem?
So far, go back pre-snap, because I want to look at assignment, right? Because based on pre-snap, we'll know what side was man, what side was zone. So if we look at this, we draw a line down the center's ass, right? I would say, again, they're in over. Tight ends to our side. In fact, we got a sniffer. Sniffer's tight end off the ball. They've got 5 to our side. Plus, what do you see with the play side safety? Pre-snap. What do you see?
Oh, he's robbing.
So he's not robbing. He's up.
Up. Yeah, he's up.
He's up. He's at 8 yards. He's at 8 yards. By the way, guys, football doesn't freaking change. Look at his depth. He's literally at 8. He's 8 yards. You literally know what happens when a safety's at 8. What do you think is going to happen? Pre-snap. A quarterback should know this. Maybe you wouldn't know, but do you know what's going to happen when a safety's at 8?
No, what's going to happen?
He's going to replace somebody blitzing.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Oh, 100%. Safety's sitting at 8. There isn't a slot there. They're not in man. Look at the DBs. They're not in man. The safety's sitting at 8 with a corner. That means there's a blitz coming and he's taking away the quick stuff, right? Blitz means shorter routes. He's going to rob or take the place with something. There's two tight ends, right? So he's going to cover. So we'll see what the safety does, but pre-snap, that safety's telling me somebody's coming. Right? The backers are cocked, which means one can go, one can replace, which means one can go, one can cross. Both can come, they can cross, or one can go. And because there's 2 tight ends on the other side, that other backer can just scrape across, right? So let's see what happens. I don't know. I don't know what they do, but let's see what that backer who's up comes. Boom, pause it. Backer who's up comes. Look at the backer who was back. What does he do? He's looking for a crosser. You see him? I think he's the guy who gets the pick. Right? But they're in zone. So he's not taking the first crosser. He's just looking it up. As of right now, you can see Jackson's like, oh shit, there it is. I think it's 77. He's doing exactly what we discussed. He's doubling for the center's man and leaving the backer to run right through the A gap. Let it progress. Watch 13. 13 sees the first crosser. He lets him go. It's zone, right? It's not his man. 13 sees another crosser is coming. So let me just keep it here. Because it's zone, our receivers are taught in zone to not run through zones, to stop in an open area. So, and by the way, this is, I don't know if this is 92, but this is a leech concept. This is the leech concept we're running. Let it play. Look at 13. Stop. So I get it. Jackson beats the blitzer.
He wins on that play. Yeah.
He shucks him. He dodges him. He knows it's zone, but the backer's in zone. Look at that safety. He has not backed up. He's still at safety depth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The backer should be taking the deeper cross, but he sees the quarterback is in anxiety. He robs. Boom. He go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
Right. Pick six. And so pre-snap, I knew that because that safety's at 8, somebody's coming. He's replacing somebody. That backer reads a crosser, stays on top of it. He makes a good instinctually. Oh yeah, I gotta get out of here, man. I gotta get out of here,
Yeah.
and I got 10 minutes.
All good, brother. Man, let's real quick just run through receivers and running backs. What was we'll stop sharing right there. What were your thoughts there? I think Jackson, we kind of perused a little bit. Solid game. He's gonna get better. I don't think he showed some improvement. Give us the running back receiver grade.
Yeah, running back ho hum. In my opinion, I don't feature Barnes. He's a typecast running back. In my opinion, he's a guy who we want to get short yardage. We want to blitz pick up. He's a changeup guy. I'm not giving him the perimeter runs. He just hasn't shown he's going to go over what the play design is. And again, that's just my opinion. You can disagree. I would wholeheartedly, respect your opinion or whoever's opinion.
Yeah.
Receivers, there was a lot to like. More pups got a chance to play and they looked prepared. Kearney catches the ball and he doesn't look like he just wants to catch the ball and hope he doesn't get killed.
He looked
gets
much
field.
better.
He gives somebody a little ship and then he kind of skates for another 7 or 8 yards. Same thing with Raggins. Raggins catches a slant, which, by the way, his coverage is pretty physical. He mitts it with his hands and he gets upfield. It's kind of like, okay, I've been here. Last Saturday, I was a little scared. I can't afford to be scared again this Saturday.
Yep.
We spoke about Petaway. It's encouraging to see more formidable guys on the outside, coach willing to give the pups an opportunity to play. And I think I think Kearney had a semi drop. I believe he had a play where he has a drop.
Yes.
I do want to speak to some of the good of Jackson. We showed his worst play, but Jackson has plays where the O-line is not giving him time for progression stuff. He either steps up or he spills left or right, and he throws seeds. Burks drops a big ball on 3rd and 11 or 12 early in the third quarter, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. It's on the money. He throws him away from coverage, where I mean that he throws it kind of low and kind of slows Burks down because he's got a trailer, but there's enough room for him to kind of put it on him, but he doesn't lead him so that the other guy can get him. Beautiful throw by JFA. Burks drops it, and I think he owns that drop. Skill guys played better. I think I gave them 78, 76. I think the running back rotation, again, this is my opinion. I think Tatum needs to get the ball more. But relative to the first 2 games, he did get the ball.
He got
more.
9. So, Barnes got 14. So,
but even
it's up there.
Even just possessions, he scores 2 touchdowns, right? Yeah. Tatum does. So in that regard, again, it's kind of like, okay, now we got to address the O-line again because the receivers did play better this game and they got open. They got open down the field. Jackson misses them. Jackson misses a couple of them down the field. Again, Bauer shows some signs again of scheme. People talking so much crap about Seth and whatever the schemes. There's some scheme stuff there, and we're just missing it. Tight end catches the ball and takes care of stuff. Both of them are in the high 70s grade. You know what I'm saying? Receiver, we need Nick Anderson back. On that X position. I think him and Burks can really cook when you got a Bauer there to help out and underneath stuff. Running back, I just think because Tatum has 2 guys who kind of earn the right to consistently get reps, they're kind of taken away from his reps. I think they got to give him a chance to be the alpha one game. Barnes was still the alpha this game, but Tatum got more reps, and when they went 2 back, it was Barnes and Tatum. It wasn't Barnes and Sawchuk. And so, yep. So that was good to see. Last but not least, I just want to address scheme. I believe Seth is going through his bag. Here's the beauty about Seth versus Lebby. Lebby was a one-trick pony. Our stuff didn't change much. We didn't go to a sniffer until week 7 or 8.
Yeah.
We've seen Seth go into his bag and run. That bend back is
already.
Not
game 3.
100%. We've seen him go on his bag and run more than we ever saw last year. Mm-hmm. I think they're, I wouldn't say grasping at straws, but they're still guesstimating what's going to be stronger for the offense. If we had time, I'd show early in the game, beautiful triangle concepts, leech concepts, beautiful. You have a running back stretch, behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah. You have a tight end spot up who's stressing that linebacker, and then you got the receiver going deep or deep corner and stressing that corner. very clean reads. We ran it a couple times early in the game, and I felt like Jackson made the reads perfect both times. They're not veer and shoot concepts. They are spread the field concepts, and we took advantage of them. We didn't go back to them. You know what I'm saying? But you see that depth is there, and then you see some Fedora full boot. By the way, first quarter, full on boot action. We're showing the ball. We're booting out of the offense. Again, that's not veer shoot. Veer shoot is sprint out.
Yeah.
Veer shoot is sprint one time, and we were booting, and so again, some depth there. I think the kid's getting better. I want to say this about Jackson. Jackson in 2 years is probably going to be the best quarterback in football. The problem is he has that on his helmet, and we have a schedule that says we have 6 teams in the top 10, or 4 teams in the top 10 come in the next 6 or 7 weeks.
Wild.
OU fans don't give a damn about 2 years ago or 2 years from now. We give a damn about 2 weeks from now, because 2 weeks now we got Texas. You know what I'm saying? And before that we got Tennessee. So yeah, pressure's on you, bro. Squarely. You know what I'm saying? But yes, he did show growth. If we're looking at data points, Temple was kind of a wash because they were so terrible. He played well, 4 tugs, right? Houston, he played bad. Tulane, he plays better. He has a couple of drops. He has a terrible play. Guy, wait. We could lose that game if RMT doesn't become Superman in Q4. Just be real. Let's call it a spade. But he also showed progress. He runs from almost 100 yards. You know, he reads the zone read correctly on some occasions. He shows us he can make the throws. He's got to connect on some deep balls.
Yeah, that's the big difference.
He hasn't connected on any of his deep balls, and that's a big issue for us right now. We're a work in progress. It's going to be a coin flip. To be honest with you, Barry, it's going to be a coin flip. I can't say with full fidelity that we're going to be ready for Tennessee. And my fear is our defense is good, not great. And in a game where the offense gets nullified, the defense is going to have a ton of stress. And if RMT isn't getting pressure and they've got quick game going and they're cooking on the second level where our backers are a little bit unidentified and, there isn't consistent pressure, it's going to be a hard game for us to win.
It's going to get interesting. Well, want to remind everybody, go over to ouinsider.com, grab yourself a membership over there. We're talking on the board. D-Mac, obviously we talked earlier. He's posted his 10 thoughts. I got things going. This week, we're going to be talking about Tennessee. OU has a Heupel coming to town. It'll be a fantastic atmosphere. I think it'll be second to none. Probably one of the coolest atmospheres in Norman in a long time. But as you guys saw today, we're bringing you the nuts and bolts of it. We're going inside. Definitely wish we could talk more about Luttrell, and we will in the coming episodes, because you're right. I think it different from Lebby. He saw the week 1 and 2 that Barnes wasn't going to do well in what they were running for him, and he went and adjusted. He made a difference. At OU is 183 yards on the ground. Probably could have gone for 200. I still think Tatum's probably going to be the back this year. If they even have a time where they get to 200 and carry it enough, I think he's going to be your back. But we'll see, Sooner Nation. Want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Go check out the social medias at Barry and Mack SHW. Follow Damian on Instagram, Twitter, as well as myself, and then go check out OU Insider. Want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We will see you soon.